Yeah, I can't figure out how to do that. There's no option for me to do it. Here, I'm going to click this video on and off again. Yeah, this is strange. It's not letting me show my face on here. Okay, anyways, I can share my screen, so I figured out how to do that last time. So that's no problem. I can do that. There, share screen. So we'll bring my screen up. There. And can you guys just confirm with me if you can see my screen? Which you can see me when I do this, right? Yeah. So if I go put this down here and then bring this up. So can you guys see me now? Can you see what's on my screen? It's my presentation there. If someone can confirm that they can see that. Yeah, no, I know. I'm going to have to, I'm recording it here, so I'm recording my screen. I can see myself on my screen. I just, for some strange reason, my Telegram's not sharing the recording of actually myself here. So we'll just jump into this, guys, because you guys can, the most important thing is seeing the slides on my screen. I fixed my microphone. Last time I did this, guys, my microphone was acting crazy on me, and it was pretty loud, and there was some popping noise and stuff. So hopefully it sounds better now. And yeah, so these are some of the things we're going to go over in today's video. So I wanted to talk about is the audit the end? Okay, so meaning that, and that's actually the next slide, so we'll roll right into that. Is that, is the audit the end? Because I get a lot of people talking and saying like, when they'll comment on one of my YouTube videos or they'll personally message me or something, they'll always start with, oh, when's the audit going to end? And that type of thing, guys. So the audit is not actually the end. The audit is basically, and I'll get into this a little bit later on in this video here, but it's what they need when they go to the pretrial or when they go to court, okay, is the actual audit, because it's the, as you can see here, it says an audit serves as the defendant's proof in court, okay? So the audit is basically the thing that, of course, takes most likely when we're dealing with this, guys, it's going to take the longest amount of time if we're thinking about the different stages and stuff that deals with this. The audit is definitely something that's going to take the most amount of time. The last news on the audit from Vadim there, guys, was that it's in the final stages, and they're like, I like to use the word buttoning things up, right? So I'm sure we'll hear a little bit of that type of news there on Vadim's next broadcast that he does, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on here. Okay, so something else here I want to talk about is the next stage after the audit. The audit is complete is a pre-trial. Okay, so a pre-trial would be the next stage there. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much about what is a pre-trial, because we'll get into pre-trial and trial a little bit later on here in the video. Okay, so in a lot of this information, guys, my uncle is actually a lawyer, and he deals with very similar cases to what we're dealing with. So a lot of this information I got off him, and a lot of the information I've just picked up from watching Sergey, post and Vadim post, and the other, top leaders in the company post, and just listening to what they're saying through that investors chat group. So I want to say this right now is that it is extremely important for you guys to follow the posts in the investors chat group there. And especially if you're in like a 10.5% group or, 14%, I'm pretty sure you guys are following everything that's getting put out there. But, if you're in the company groups there, the investors chat group, 10.5% group, it's extremely important, guys, to follow. So one of the best things you can do, and I know I said this in my last broadcast that I did, is to upgrade your Telegram. Okay, so that's what I've done there. And I've upgraded my Telegram. It's actually pretty cheap, guys. It's like $5-6 a month there, and everything translates for you. So it's really, really good. And I highly recommend that you guys do that, because following the posts in group, especially from Sergey, Vadim, and those top leaders there, is extremely important if you want to know what's going on with S Group here. Okay, so the next thing here, guys, is the law is on our side. Okay, so this is something that Vadim said at his last broadcast. There was the laws on S Group's side, on his side with this. Okay, and what that basically means is that, and I'll get into this on my next slide once again, is that all claims against the company have proven to be false with the audit. Okay. So if you just simply just think about that and let it resonate with you, what does that actually mean? It means that the law's on our side when things move on to the next stage, which would be the pre-trial here. Okay. So this will have a huge influence on the outcome. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of go over a little story, a little scenario here so that, I really want this to resonate with people where we are. Okay, not with just the audit, but the situation of that, as Vadim said, like all the claims had been cleared with this audit. So you could think about it this way. Okay, so we'll take like for example here, like a school on a schoolyard. Okay, so you've got a bully and you've got just a regular average student out there. Okay, and the bully goes to the principal's office, and the bully says, "Hey, Miss Principal, this so-and-so, we'll say his name's Jimmy. Jimmy went and punched me in the face and he broke my glasses." Okay. So then the principal goes and that's just the word of one student. Okay. So the principal goes and what's she going to do or he's going to do, right? They're going to go and they're going to look into, this claim. Okay. This bully said that little Jimmy went and broke the bully's glasses on the schoolyard. Okay. So she's gonna look into the claim. What's she gonna do, guys? Maybe they have camera footage or something like that they can look into, right? So they go back, they look into the camera footage, and what do they find? They find that the little Jimmy and the bully they didn't even talk to each other that day, and they weren't seen in the same sides of the yard outside and all that. Other things they would do is they would go maybe ask some students, right? Friends of the bully, friends of little Jimmy. And, depending on what those other students said, that would be part of the outcome as well. Okay. Then other things they could do is they could ask the bully's teachers, they could ask little Jimmy's teachers, like, how are these kids, right? Are they, is the bully always getting in trouble, always getting mischief? Is little Jimmy always getting in trouble, always getting mischief? Like, what are their personalities? What are their traits? Those type of things. Okay. And then with all this put together, that principal can go and, give an outcome for that situation. Okay. We have all this evidence. We have all this proof from these people and all that kind of stuff. And they can go forward with the decision. Okay. Like who is actually at fault with this, right? So if you want to think about that, guys, in a way of the S Group audit, okay, the audit is them gathering all that information. I know this is extremely basic stuff to understand, but this is what, as I said before, my lawyer's my uncle's a lawyer, and he's dealt with a lot of situations that are kind of like similar to S Group there, guys. So, with actually like cryptocurrency and that type of thing, right? So that's basically how he explained it to me, was that's what the audit is, right? The audit doesn't create the outcome. The audit is basically the proof for the defendant when they go forward to the pretrial. And then we'll talk about on the next slide there, guys, if all was to go wrong, then what happens after the pretrial there, okay? And of course, this is coming from advice that I've gotten from my uncle who's Canadian. We all know the trial is not going on in Canada, so things could be a little different here, guys. But I just wanted to put this out here as an understanding of how I see it, because I am like really calm about this situation, right? I'm going to show you guys a little bit later on here my SWCT that I have in my wallet. You guys, I showed my investment at the last, I showed my team turnover and stuff at the last presentation there. But I've got a lot in S Group. I'm not like, I wouldn't consider myself like a really wealthy, rich person or anything, but I've went and I've decided to, basically focus on S Group as my retirement plan and not let my government focus on that for me, kind of thing. And I know that's a lot of people are in the same situation as me, where they've done that. They've kind of went to, business opportunities to do that. They've went to cryptocurrency to do that. And they've kind of got away from the traditional way of like investing to retire. And so I just thought I'd talk about that for a bit, because I know a lot of you guys might be in the same situation as me here, where you've got a lot involved in S Group, and a lot, of course, is involved with this audit in your SWCT here, okay? And this broadcast, guys, will probably be one of the last ones where I actually talk about the audit for a long time. I just wanted to talk about the audit for a long time, meaning this broadcast, the last one I did, the last one we did was like an hour and a half long. I wanted to go over the audit a lot because I think that's what's on most people's minds that are not, their first language isn't Russian, right? If your first language is Russian, you've probably heard all this stuff a while ago from your leaders or through broadcasts in group there, okay? But in the English market, guys, this is only our second broadcast that we've done, okay? And I'm very pleased that they asked me to do it. I think that's pretty cool on my end to be in that position there. So anyways, enough of my blah, blah, blah. We'll get back to this here, okay? So yeah, so you should understand that, you know, if the defendant, which is S Group, if all the audit and proof and stuff like that is positive on our side, meaning that all claims have been cleared, okay, then this law thing and the huge influence, guys, is totally on our side with this. Okay, so once you understand that and you look into that, then you think, okay, what is the next stage after the audit? It's a pretrial, right? A pretrial. So where would things move from that pretrial? It could be that at that pretrial, everything gets settled. Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on here, because I think that's one of the main things that people need to think about is just the different stages that's involved here. And it's not just, you know, the audit and getting the audit done. There's more to it, guys, okay? So as it says here, the odds are on our side. Seeing all claims against S Group are found to be false. Okay, and I've said that, I think, 4 times so far here because I love it. Okay, that's some good news there for us. Okay, so we're going to get into the next slide here, guys. It's going to be kind of an example of if things were to go wrong, maybe what along the lines, like what would it look like? Okay, so some people are not going to like the next slide, but I think that as it says on the next slide, we got to talk about it, right? Okay, so but if issues were to arise during the pretrial, then what is the worst outcome for S Group and for us? Okay, which if you actually think about this this outcome, guys, it is most likely the worst outcome, but I wouldn't say it's horrible, it's bad, it's not like the end of everything and things like that. But I did put a disclaimer up here about this. Is that the odds of this happening are very, very low, but I feel it should be considered and mentioned, okay? So if the pretrial was to fail, then things would move to a trial, okay? So personally, in my mind, guys, what are the things I don't want to hear, but, you know, if I hear them, I want to be prepared for it, is that for some strange reason, and I don't think this would happen, as it says up here, I think this is an extremely low, you know, this outcome would be extremely, I don't think it would happen type thing. The outcome would be very, very low. You know, if it was to happen, guys, is that it would move to a trial. Okay. If the pretrial was to fail, but you have to think about what I just said there before was that all claims against the company were proven to be false. Okay. So why would it go to trial? But there is a possibility it could. So I think that we should talk about this. Okay. So, which is that we need, so we need to, so this would take like the maximum amount of time basically is what it says, guys. If it went to trial, okay, that would take the maximum amount of time. You can go, there was a big chat about this in the 15% group I saw about almost 8 months ago near the start of the audit there. About like they were going over different cases that were similar to S Group that involved cryptocurrency, guys. And this is going to scare you, some of the stuff I'm going to say here. But our case with S Group, once again, all claims are proven to be false. Like all these claims against the company are proven to be false. But similar cases dealing with much more funds, like we're talking multi-billions of funds that deal with cryptocurrency that was under audit, guys. Some of them were lasting from 7 to 9 years, okay? So personally myself, even for my financial planning, guys, I'm not even really planning for that. Like it's not even on my mind type thing. I personally feel, this is once again my opinion, that things will end at the pretrial and then, you know, who knows how long that will take or whatever, but not years, okay? But I just wanted to put that out there that cases that deal with cryptocurrencies and audits, there are some stuff out there, if you look into it, guys, that it's like 7 to 9 years, the actual trial end of it lasts, okay? So I just wanted to mention that. I'm not trying to scare people. I just want you guys to understand that, what is reality and what is the truth to all this kind of stuff. Like, that situation could happen, but the odds of it, as it says up there, is like extremely, like very, very, very freaking low. So even myself, guys, like, it's hard for me to even talk about that type of thing because I don't like to think about it, but I think that it should be considered and mentioned as it says there. Okay, so if the trial were to fail and S Group were to be found guilty, then the regulator would instruct the broker on how to conduct the return of funds to the clients of S Group here. Okay, so sanctions would be involved. Okay, and then there's your next question, of course. I didn't know about sanctions, guys. I knew the meaning of a sanction, but I didn't know about sanctions and trials and audits and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know about regulator. I knew about broker, of course. But I didn't know about sanctions and that sanctions would be involved until I saw it in the one of the groups. I think it was the 13.5% group when it was around. Sergi was having a discussion with another member there, and he brought up the word sanctions. And then so I went, and this was months ago, guys, probably 5 months ago. And I went and I researched, like, what are sanctions and what would the sanctions be involved with this? Okay. So on the next slide here, guys, you'll see, and if you read this again, you'll see the stages of the most likely outcome there, guys, is that, we got the audit's finished, goes to pretrial. It could go any way from there. It could end at the pretrial, and then it would go to the regulator, and then the regulator would conduct the broker what to do there. So you can see the stages there of what's going to happen, and meaning that it doesn't just end at the audit. When the audit's done, it's not just done, right? Okay. So the next thing here, what are sanctions? I want to talk about this because I think this is really, really important stuff for you to understand, especially if you're out there and you're sponsoring, because your teammate might come to you and have questions. And if you can understand the situations of the different kind of ways this could go, like if it goes, how we're planning on it going is just it ending at the pretrial and then just the dealings with the regulator and the broker, which wouldn't take that long, right? But there is a scenario here, which I've just went over, is that it could be, it goes to trial and it could take a much longer time, right? Kind of thing there. And if that's the case, the worst case scenario, as it said there, I think 2 slides ago, the worst case scenario, guys, is this is what would happen is sanctions would be involved. Okay. So I'm going to go over this here once again. The disclaimer's up there, guys, so you can read that again. This is not what I think is going to happen. I just want you guys to consider it and understand it. Okay. Okay. So, yes, return of deposited funds to the clients of S Group. Okay. So that's for most countries out there, guys. If you're watching this and your first language is not Russian, then that's probably the scenario. The worst scenario that could happen for you is that you would get a return of funds from S Group, okay? It would probably take a very long time because it would involve regulator, government, all that kind of stuff, and we know that's not very fast. And I also have a screenshot here at the end. I'll show you that it's something Sergi said. I believe it was today or within the last couple days, guys. There, he said it. So I actually saw it this morning. So I took a screenshot of it because it was right along the lines of what we're talking about here. So we'll go over that a little bit later here. Okay. So, but sanctions will involve being involved, meaning that if the regulator's country has sanctions with your country, then you will not receive the funds. Okay. So I want to talk about that a little bit more. Okay. On the next slide, I'm going to give you guys some information here, which you can go and do your own research to see if the company, we'll get into this in the next. I shouldn't talk about this right now because we got to go over a lot of stuff here. Okay. So, and the country's governing body would. Okay. So there's no happy way to put this, but that country would most likely keep the funds under ruling of that it's like money laundering or something like that. So we'll go to the next slide because this will make more sense here if we do this. So about this right here, okay? So this is some research you can do on your own, guys. In these broadcasts, I don't want to name names of countries or anything like that, because the company is obviously, S Group's not putting out names of countries or anything, right? So I'll just give you guys mega hints, and then you can take it from there. Okay. To find out if your country has sanctions with the governing body, once again, I'm doing this way so we don't have to name names of countries. Okay. You can go use Google. Simply type in what countries does the name of country, which would be the company house. Okay. So there's the big hint there, guys, is just go type in, down here it says like you can type in like company house. Okay. And it'll be that country. Okay. That is involved with this, with the sanctions. Okay. So if your country has sanctions, that country has sanctions with your country, then the regulator would be this is kind of confusing even for myself. The regulator would be involved with sanctions with your country, with the return of your investment funds. Okay. But once again, I believe in everyone that went to that Dubai meeting, guys, you still see them here promoting the Dubai meeting, the top secret meeting. So if they thought that was the outcome, was that everything would fail and that S Group would be, we'd be in this situation that I'm kind of talking about here, I can guarantee you they would not be with the company right now, guys. You'd see them out there doing something else. So what they were showing was what was sent to the auditors, what was, presented to them for them to see like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to stay with the company, or do I want to go out there and do something else or whatever? And you'll see, guys, like most of those guys, I would say like 98% of them ended up staying with the company, right? Of course, there's always going to be the odd person out there that's like, oh, I'll just do something else, right? Kind of thing. So yeah, that's basically how you look into, if your country has sanctions against, the company house country, we'll say it that way, the company house country has sanctions against your country you're in. Okay. So if this is confusing for you guys, which it was confusing for me when I first started looking into sanctions, I just recommend when the recording of this comes out, just go through it again. Maybe don't listen to what I'm saying and just read on your screen. It might be easier for you, because I get confused pretty easy here too. Well, okay. So we'll get into this here and we'll finish this off. We're only about halfway through this, so I got to speed things up here for you guys. Google will provide you with relevant information. Remember, Google can be a helpful tool for researching, these type of matters here. Okay, if you don't understand something, Google's a great resource. The best resource, which we'll talk about later, guys, is definitely the people above you. Okay, so like connecting with the 15% sponsor. I've actually got a whole slide on connecting with the 15% sponsor. But that's probably the best thing you can do. And it might actually be, it is. It's the next slide here. Okay. So we'll get into that now. Okay. So getting support of the 15% sponsor, 15% plus above you. Okay. So this is what I want everyone's mission. If you're watching this recording right now, guys, I want this to be your mission, is do your best to connect with the 15% person above you. Okay. So the 15% plus person above you. Do your best to connect with that person. Okay. They understand network marketing. And as I said, I talked about this in my last broadcast as well. And I said that those people that are 15%, they know how they got there, right? And they understand that you, because you're below them, you help them get to that situation. Okay. So they understand if you message them and they look your username up and they see, oh, this person's in my structure, they're not going to say, oh, I can't support you, or you're not my direct referral, or whatever. They're not going to do that, guys. They understand that you are part of helping them get to the situation, the position they're in the company. Okay. So don't be shy. Don't be afraid to, ask your sponsor, hey, do you know who your sponsor is? And then you connect with that sponsor and you say, hey, do you know who your sponsor is? Until you find the 15% person. Okay. And I'm guaranteeing you guys, they'll be happy to help you out, okay? Because they understand network marketing. They understand that you're part of them for where they are in the company, okay? So, also, if you have not reached out to the 15% sponsor above, this would be a good time to do so, okay? So that's basically what I was just saying there, okay? So next slide here, guys. And so now we're going to get into some happy talk here. So I want to go over kind of what is hard to talk about at the start, and then get into the, this is what I call the most likely outcome here. So now let's discuss the most likely outcome and the reason behind it. Okay, so here you go here, and then we've got our top leaders, a screenshot from our top leader, Sergi there. I just want to take a time here, guys, to just say like how amazing Sergi is in those groups, like in the investors. I've been online network marketing, doing affiliate marketing with business opportunities, all that kind of stuff, guys, for about 15 years. If you watched the first broadcast I did, I talked a lot about that at the start of the broadcast. In all my time, I don't think I've ever seen someone work as hard as Sergi does. So I just wanted to take the time out in here and just say that, just because, guys, like I've never seen someone work that hard. It's amazing. It's I don't think he sleeps. It's nuts, if you ask me. The guy doesn't get any time to sleep there, it seems. Okay, so we'll roll into this here, guys. And once again, this is, all is in favor of the company. The company's in favor of the law type thing, or the law's in favor of the company here. So this is probably the most likely scenario how things will play out. Okay. There is a big kind of missing piece to this that I don't think the company's going to put out this news. So I'm going to talk about that after I go through this here, because I didn't actually make a screen about it, because I thought it'd be easier for me just to talk about it. But we'll go over that here pretty soon. Okay. So the odds are in our favor. Okay. Once again, for the 10th time, all the claims made against the company are on, they're proven to be false. So the audit is basically on our side. The law is on our side. Okay. So if the outcome of the pre-trial is positive, then the stages would be as followed. Okay. And here's something else, is that Vadim will not talk about stages. Okay. He's not going to talk about, oh, we're in this stage right now. Okay. I was even surprised when he said months ago that like we're 50% or more through the audit, guys. With all this, even on, I think Sergi posted about this, but he said that, that's something that they shouldn't even really talk about, is the stages and where they are with the outcome of all this audit and such, right? Okay. Is because that could create new claims against the company. And that's exactly what we don't want. We don't want any new claims created against the company, because it'll just extend things longer than, and we want everything to get settled up here, right? Because the sooner it's settled up, then the sooner you're going to get access to selling SWCT inside S-Wallet on the exchange page for whatever you want, USDT, SGCT. That's my plan. I'm going to do a lot of SGCT investing when that time comes. Okay, so let's get into this here, guys. Then the stages would be as followed. Okay, so this is the outcome, the most likely outcome, I believe, that is going to happen here. And I think it's the outcome that, as I said before, that top secret meeting in Dubai that happened the middle of last summer there, the start of the audit, basically, it's the outcome all those guys see and why they're still with the company. Okay, why they decide to stay with the company and not do something else. Okay, and that means a lot, guys, when you think about it, that these top leaders out there, where there's hundreds of them, right? There's 70 something people above me in S Group there in the rankings. So at 14% plus, there's, I don't know exactly how many people, but there's probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people there, guys, that are 14% plus, that 100 plus of those people were at that Dubai meeting, saw all the information, and then all these people 14% plus and above there, they decided to stay with the company. Okay, so that's something that you really need to think about when you're thinking about the whole situation, is what are these top people doing that most likely their income is, they've put themselves in a situation where they're very dependent on their income from S Group. Right? What are they doing right now? Are they out doing something else with a different company, or are they with S Group? And with me, guys, I see that they're always with S Group here, okay? Which is really, really nice, okay? So the result of the pre-trial would be shown to the regulator, okay? So they would have a pre-trial. And I'm going to talk about this right now, is that I don't think Vatim's going to announce when the pre-trial starts. Okay. So by that, it could be that the pre-trial has a date. Okay. And that date could be months out. It could be weeks out. Okay. I don't think he's going to say anything, because if I was in his situation and knowing what I know, I would not say anything, because it could go and make, the plaintiff out there, we're the defendant and you have a plaintiff, it could give the plaintiff a reason to go and create new claims against the company if they have a set date for, say the pre-trial's 3 months out or something like that, right? Okay, so that's something else that I want to talk about there, is that, we don't know when the pre-trial is, and it could be, hey, it's in 3 months or something, or it could be, hey, it's in 2 weeks, or it could be, hey, it's going on right now. Like, no one knows, because it's probably not a good idea to tell people that information, okay, from the company's point of view there, okay? So, regulator, okay? Then the regulator would instruct the broker to lift the restriction on the broker's account, which is S Group's SWCT there, okay, that had dealings with the audit, our SWCT, okay? This would lead to liquidity. We all know this, right? This would lead to liquidity of SWCT being provided on S-Wallet Exchange, okay? And as I said here, it could be quick. It could be 3 months out. We don't know. And personally on my end, guys, and I think every other leader out there that understands that information put out could bring new claims against the company, I don't think we need to know that information, right? Okay, so it could be quick. It could not be quick. We don't know, but quick would be nice there. And then this is just basically Sergi saying something similar to what I'm saying up here, okay? So next slide, okay? And lastly, the result of the audit is your 100% proof that S Group was a safe decision when it comes to your retirement plan or financial freedom planning, okay? So this is what this says down here, okay? Is that personally for me, guys, this is how I see it, is this audit is an amazing thing. And that's actually what we're going to get into here next, okay? It's an amazing thing because it gives us promotional power. When it comes to promotion, with this, for example, here down here, okay? Someone comes along and says to you, prove to me this is real, okay? When you're promoting something out there that deals with investing, or, you're putting money in here and then you're getting a return back or something like that, and you're not the actual one creating the profit, a company's creating the profit for you, that's always the question that people they have is like, oh, prove this is real to me, okay? And with this audit, we're going to have the availability to say the company was audited. Summer 2023, the company was audited, and we're not in the future right now, but in the future, I'd be saying it was audited, and look where we are at right now, right? I've had all these earnings, and over this auditing time, I've made all this earnings and all that, and it's amazing. We can show all that kind of proof and stuff out there, right? Okay, and this is just like, well, this would be the response, of course, to this question as well. One of the company's accounts with almost $500 million in it. I think that what was showed at the Dubai meeting, guys, was about $420 million in the broker account, and they actually showed that they couldn't withdraw from the broker and they couldn't deposit into the broker, into that account. So at that event, guys, they actually showed like you can't withdraw from here and you can't deposit into here, and they showed all the funds. Okay, so that was the proof. I think that was really the big proof there at that Dubai meeting, was they just showed everything, right? There's like nothing held back. People couldn't bring in their devices to record anything, or I saw something funny from Yuri yesterday. Was he had like notes written, because I guess he couldn't bring his phone in there, so he had like written notes of what he was seeing and stuff. So it was actually pretty cool to see that there. Okay, and so that's pretty neat. And then on to the next slide here, guys. Why is the audit a good thing? So this is something else that I think that is something good to think about, guys. Is why is this audit a good thing? Because most people look at it and they're like, man, an audit, right? Ties up all my money. I need that kind of thing. That's the along the lines of what what many people are thinking. But I made a whole video on my YouTube channel about this, guys. And I think I called it something like the yin and the yang of the situation we're going through right now. And yes, for every negative situation, there's a positive end to it. Okay, there's a positive side of every negative situation. So if you're thinking of it in a negative way, there's also a positive way of looking at it and thinking about it that way. Okay, so I know my last broadcast, guys, most of it was about the way you think and positivity and what positivity can do for you. And it can actually change your mind, which your mind can change your life and can change your outcome. It can change everything around you, right? Your family's life, the car you drive, the house you live in, all that. So I'm not going to talk too much about that today, but here's some good things to think about. Okay. So the audit situation will end with many people receiving a lump sum of funds. Okay, so I'm actually going to show you guys in this video here my S wallet, which is actually my wife's S wallet, with a couple 100,000 SWCT in it. So it's in one of the slides here. I'll show you here pretty soon. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm telling my team to do. What I recommend them to do is don't sell their SWCT for cheap. Hold on to it, let it sit there, and then focus on what this says here is a lump sum. Okay, because a lump sum can change your life. Okay, so for those people out there that don't understand what a lump sum is, it's getting a bunch of money at once and not just trickling to you over time, getting a bunch of money at once. So this is the situation that a lot of people, guys, that are S Group members are putting themselves into, is getting a bunch of money at once, because they're actually letting that SWCT like stack up inside their S wallet, which for some people, guys, it's going to actually create financial freedom. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit on the next slide here about like what is my plan for my SWCTs, because I want to put you guys in kind of that mindset of thinking about, okay, a lump sum, what can I do with this, that type of thing. Okay, so an outcome that can lead to you getting cheap SWCT, so a buying opportunity basically. So that's another positive thing about the audit, guys. If the audit didn't happen, we wouldn't have the availability to go out there and buy on, say, the S-Trade P2P for like 0.12, 0.15. I've seen some people buy on there for 0.8, okay? That type of thing. So it's a buying opportunity. I think I actually talked a little bit about this in the last broadcast, so I won't focus on it much, but it's kind of something similar to Bitcoin's really, really high. Bitcoin drops. A bunch of people panic sell, and they sell for, 18,000. Sorry, my mic popped on me there. 18,000. They hold it, and then they go and they sell on the next high. So you can think of buying SWCT cheap at this time in that P2P, guys. You could think about it in that way, is that this audit's actually giving us a buying opportunity. Okay, so what the wording I've used for that in the past is a transfer of wealth. Some people are selling for really cheap. Some people are buying at really cheap, and they're having a transfer of wealth right now. So it's all up to you. What side do you want to be on with that transfer of wealth? Okay, I know what side I'm on. Okay, so in this one here, guys, you could take this, as I said before, yin and a yang. So you could take it as a negative or a positive. I decide to look at this as in a positive light, is that I'm learning something from this, that I've never been through this situation before, is an audit, right? And being involved in a company, right? So I, personally myself, I had an audit done on one of a business that me and my dad had many years ago, probably 30 years ago or so. I was a teenager at that time, but many, many years ago, I should say more along the lines of my dad getting audited, but I was involved in that business as well. And I've never been through this kind of situation, guys, where, I'm not the actual person that's being audited, and I don't know everything that's going on. And just the information that's coming to me is what I know, right? So yeah, you could look at it this way, guys, is hard times or struggle can result in a stronger you. Okay, so kind of a learning experience, right? Like that scenario I said way back at the start of this recording here was that the scenario of like, the bully on the schoolyard, and then the kind of innocent kid or whatever that ended up being innocent. Like that, it's a learning scenario. So in that scenario, maybe the bully learned something, and then he's not a bully anymore, or maybe that wimpy kid or whatever kind of thing learned something and he's not such a wimp anymore and he stands up for himself now, kind of thing. So guys, this audit is a learning experience for you to be a stronger person, really, if you want to think about it that way, right? So I've decided to look at it that way, is that I'm learning something from this, right? Hey, maybe I need to actually focus on having more savings, right? In my safe or in my bank or something like that, right? Okay. So learning experience to take away from there. Okay. So on to the next slide here. So this is my actual, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to even show this, but I'm pretty sure I am. I wanted to show this to you guys just because I know that a lot of leaders out there and stuff, they talk the talk, but they don't actually show the show. Okay. If you guys follow me, you know that I just show everything, right? But yeah, this is my S wallet here, guys. I'm stacking up SWCT. I'm not selling it. I'm waiting where I can sell for $1 inside S wallet. Okay. So I can sell for $1 inside S wallet exchange, or I can buy, SGCT, in, the S wallet, exchange there. Sorry, exchange. And invest at $1. Okay. That's my plan. My plan's not to go to the P2P. I know, in a world of buying and selling, you need sellers to create buyers and you need buyers to create sellers and stuff. But I don't want to be on the side where I'm deciding, I'm selling for that a cheap price or whatever out there. Okay. So this is my plan here, guys. I told you before I talk about my plan with my SWCT. Believe it or not, it's not to just go and invest it all back into S Group there, guys. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try and pay off the mortgage for my house. If you know anything about mortgage rates in Canada, guys, after COVID, they just went crazy. And my mortgage next year, if I don't pay it off, goes from 2.3% to 7.6%. So this audit, once again for me, guys, if everything is settled, everything is planned and good here, then I'll actually have basically almost my entire mortgage paid off because of my lump sum. Remember the word lump sum during this audit of SWCT. Okay. So that's what I think about. Okay. That's what I think about. And I think that, hey, this is going to put me in a position where I don't get screwed by my government because I'm going and paying 7 point something % on my house. That's, like it'd be insane to pay that, right? I'd rather just pay it off or even just sell my house and go rent somewhere in a cheaper country or something like that until things get settled, right? With my country, because Canada's pretty messed up right now. Okay. So next slide here. Okay. So I just wanted to go over this. This was the latest news that I saw in the, once again, investors chat there, guys. And I'll talk about this one more time because I think it's extremely important, is if you speak English and you don't speak, or I should say Russian is not your first language, then what you need to do is upgrade your Telegram and everything will come to you in this. Okay. Even for instance, when Sergey personally messages me, he doesn't message me in English. He messages me in Russian. Okay. So upgrade your Telegram, guys. It's extremely important because you can just fly through the posts there and you can read them really, really quick. You don't have to go and click translate on every single post. And it's like, man, this is crazy. But once again, connect with the 15% sponsor above. They can help you with that as well. Okay. Understanding what's going on, all that. Okay. So this is the latest news I saw, which you could have seen it as well if you're paying attention in the group there. So you probably already know this, but anyways, I thought in these videos, every time I do one, I'm going to do the latest news, type thing there. Okay. And I've talked about a lot of this already in this video, but this is Sergey posted this, guy. So I guess he had a talk with Vadim. This news is from a couple days ago, I think, here. But this is kind of what Vadim, by the sounds of it, will be talking about at his next broadcast. I'll say this right now: there is no published date yet for the next broadcast. Okay. Something about Vadim's broadcast. I feel comfortable with talking about this, but something about Vadim's broadcasts, guys, is that there's no published date for them. Okay. He does the broadcast when he has the information. So for instance, at his last broadcast, and actually in my last broadcast I said, and he said at the end of his broadcast, was that his next broadcast would be the end of March or going into the next month type thing. Okay. So it might not be, it might be the end of, into this month, 2 weeks later or something like that, right? It could be the end of this month. It could be the start of next month or anything, right? The reason behind that is because he gets the information and then he puts it out to us. Okay. Or if it has to do something with, like, for instance, this line up here, next product upgrade, which I think is, he's going to talk about S Pharmaceutical when Sergi said next product upgrade. I'm not sure if it's pharmaceutical or that's just along the lines of what I think, but he needs the information to come to him, right? Maybe from the IT people or the people working on that project, and then he puts the information out to us. Okay, it's not just like, oh, we're going to have a broadcast, the end of March, and then the information's not with him by the end of March, so then he just goes and does a broadcast and doesn't say anything or gives us the same news that he said at the last broadcast, guys. It makes no sense to do that, right? So, yeah, guys, the number one question I'm getting right now from the YouTube subscribers that I have, or the even what I see in the investors chat group there, guys, is when is Vadim's next broadcast, right? So that explains that, is that it's not about when it is, it's about when he gets the information that he can relay back to us. Okay, so it's something we just have to be patient with. And yes, it could take 2 months for him to do his next broadcast. We don't know. When he gets the information, then he'll do the broadcast for us. Okay. So webinars are not always focused solely on the audit. This is Vadim's webinars, right? They're not always focused solely on the audit, guys. His task is to showcase the company's work. Okay, so this is another thing that I see, which I'll call an issue with the general public, is if Vadim doesn't talk enough about the audit or say the information that people think they want to hear, right? Oh, he's going to say a date. He's going to say a date. And if they don't hear that, then they get upset and they go, wah, out there, right? That's not what these updates that Vadim does are about. Okay. They're about the company in general. Okay. So he's showcasing the company's work. What's the future like? What they're working on right now, what they have worked on, all that kind of stuff. Okay. That's what the broadcasts are like. And there's, if you watch them, there's actually just a little portion of it that he talks about the audit. And that's how it should be, guys. As I said before, way back, I think 4 or 5 slides ago, if he was just to talk about the audit and tell us every single thing that was said to him, there would probably be new claims coming out that would create more work for the audit, guys, right? So the less he says is actually the better, okay? And I know that's really that's even hard for me to think about. The less is better, but it's the way it has to be for us to move forward and for us to get to where we want to go in the right amount of time, or the quickest amount of time, I should say, right? Okay. So, and then as I said there, okay, so publicly, he cannot disclose the actions or stages of the audit. So I know in this video, guys, I talked a lot about stages. I just wanted to explain to you guys kind of what I've heard from my uncle that's a lawyer and deals with similar cases to this, what he's said to me about it. Of course, he's not a lawyer involved with the S Group case and stuff, so what he says really doesn't have that much to do with what I should think about or what you should think about things here with S Group, because he's not involved with it. He's not even in the same country, as I was saying before there, but he is someone that I could take advice from about this, right? And also Google's someone that you can take advice from out there. Is just do simple Google research, right? Look up like what are if you see Sergi say something like sanctions and you're like, what is a sanction? Then go to Google, look it up. Once again, contact the 15% sponsor above you, ask them, things like that. Okay. So that's basically it for this, guys. We're going to move on to the next slide here. Hopefully, Scott, are you there, Scott? Maybe you can turn on your mic. Scott's going to do a special guest presentation there of the power of compounding prime investment. Okay. So I've actually, he came to me about a week ago and he's like, hey, do you want me to do this? Because we were chatting about, just how do I get out of here? There you go. How neat the prime investment is and the different ways of compounding it out there where you can, I'll let him talk about it, of course, but where you can leave it on or you can turn it off and all that, right? Okay, so we'll go and I need to go stop sharing my screen. So I think I just hit this. Okay, have I stopped sharing my screen, guys? No, it's still on. Oh, here we go. Stop sharing. There we go. Okay, so SD, are you here? If you're here, yeah, oh, there you are. Okay, so do you know how to share your screen? Okay, so just get that on, and then I'll let you know if I'll keep my mic on until you start going there, but I'll let you know if it's sharing or not.
So here we are. The weekly average for the prime pool for 38 weeks is 2.77%. Now, a lot of people say to me, Scott, what does this percentage actually mean? Talk to me in monetary value. So here it is. If you had a 5K deposit and you were just not reinvesting or anything, you would be making roughly $97 a week. 10K, $208, 25K, $554, and 50K, nearly 1.2K a week. Now, those funds are liquid, right? You can put that SGCT because 100% of your returns are paid in that token. You can put that into your wallet, convert it into Bitcoin, USDT, whatever you like, and you can withdraw that money, send it to your exchange, convert it into fiat currency, put it in your bank account. So that's real money right now. I mentioned here that for this average, I omitted the first week on the chart. So the first week was 1.6 something percent, but it started on a Wednesday because that was the day the pool started. Not a full week, so I omitted it from the average. I also omitted week 4 because it was a clear anomaly week of 5.1%. It's a massive spike on the chart. You'll all have seen it. If you haven't, go and take a look in the Prime tab under investments in your back office. Now, combining. Why do I want to combine?
Hey, Scott, just wait 1 second. I don't think you're moving through your slides. It's still on the slide number 1. What's that?
Is it not?
No.
You can't see anything.
There you go. It just moved right now. There, now you're moving through them.
Okay. Right. So back to this slide, just so you can see the numbers I was actually talking about. There's your 2.77. That's the weekly average, having omitted these 2 weeks that I mentioned over the last 38 weeks. Now, for my maths later on, I applied a 2.63% weekly earnings because that is this minus 5% of this. Okay. So moving on here, why do I want to combine my deposits? What's the purpose? You know, I thought you said I could just put this money in and leave it alone and it will compound for me. Well, yes, you can do that. But 52 weeks from now, in a weekly investment pool, you're going to then be paying a maintenance fee, a small amount every week, and you're not going to know which week is which, and you're probably not going to be able to keep track of your numbers. So here is how I advise, and I've got a few people in my team investing in Prime currently, compounding, and this is how I've advised them to best go about over the period of time. So you make your first investment. 4 weeks later, you've made an investment every week for 4 weeks. Sorry, a reinvestment. You've now got 5 lines on your back office, all for different amounts. 1 large, 4 differing but smaller. Excuse you. For 30 days, you can combine your deposits, yeah? And you combine them with 3 times up to 90 days. So that's what this looks like. So after the first 4 weeks, instead of having 5 lines, you'll now combine them into 1. 4 weeks later, you'll have 5 lines again, but you'll combine the whole lot into 1. And then by the end of week 12, you combine everything. You've now got 1 large deposit, which is a net of all of these 13 lines. So down here, first of all, this first investment, you'll pay a 5% annual AI fee. So after 52 weeks, you'll pay the fee again. But by doing this, you've now deferred that by 12 weeks because the clock restarts at 0 here. So all of these maintenance fees, instead of coming out over 13 weeks, they'll come out as 1 after week 64. So other benefits, you'll have 4 deposits paying out per year instead of 52, right? Also, by combining, you can combine on either the same day every week so that all of your profit is paid on the same day, you know, further weeks down the line, or you could actually stagger them. You could have 1 on Monday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Friday. So you're actually 3 months down the line, you're now getting paid 3 times a week instead of once. So it all depends on how you want to have it set up and what your intentions are for the profit. But now you're only going to pay your maintenance fees 4 times per year instead of 52. I think that's quite significant, to be honest, because you're only paying it every 12 weeks, and it means that you can plan ahead. So, hey, I've got this fee coming out in 12 weeks. It's $800. Well, what's 800 divided by 12? Okay, it's this amount. So now I know I can leave that amount behind per week instead of having to face an $800 maintenance fee at one time. I hope that makes sense. So here we go. Prime to date. Where would you be right now if you started? And I just did these brackets because they're the start of the meaningful profit splits. So you get 70-30 here, 75-25, etc., etc. So what would it cost me to invest this? Well, you can either pay $42.50 in SGCT plus 1,000 SWCT, so 5,250 total, or you can pay it all in new money in SGCT. That's entirely up to you. Depends on how you came in, who you came in through, and what information you have to hand. Again, for 10, the splits are the same. Obviously, the numbers are higher. So right here, you can actually put 10,000 SWCT to work right now at $1. None of this 12 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents on the dollar. That is $10,000 invested in SWCT that you can't otherwise do anything with right now. So this line here is where would you be right now if you started with this and only did this? So if you only compounded SGCT, hey, you'd have just over doubled your money actually from 5K. Obviously, you retain higher percentages as you move up. So let's take this one, 25K to 56K. You'd have actually made 31.6K in 38 weeks. That's pretty special. Had you have been adding SW annually every week, however, here, look, be almost 2K better off there, 4K better off there, $10,500 better off there, and what's that, 26,000? These differences, once you scale them out, are pretty significant. I think it's pretty obvious by now that the secret to Prime is SWCT. So also, by adding these SWCTs, not only are you putting this to work at the start, you're putting this to work over time. So we're 38 weeks in now. If you started with 5K, you'd have put $1,000 to work there that you couldn't otherwise touch 38 weeks ago. But over those 38 weeks, you'll have also added that. It gives you a total of 2.4K SWCT that you put to work. Now, maybe that was SWCT you already had, in which case it cost you nothing. Some of the smarter investors out there that didn't have SWCT are buying for somewhere around this price or below. So out of this $12,158, they invested 4,250 real dollars. The other 2.4K only cost them just under $365. So they're in for 4.6K. 38 weeks later, they've got over 12 grand in their investment. And obviously, as we move up to this one, 144K total, you have put 18,900 extra SWCT to work. That's nearly $30,000 worth of SWCT that is earning based on $1. That SWCT either cost you nothing or it cost you around $4,300. I think that's, you've turned 4,300 there into nearly 29 grand. Again, you'll keep hearing me say this word, and that word is special, right? So, all right, I'm adding all this money. What's the actual difference in terms of net profit? Well, that line is here, okay? And remember, this is based on the previous 38 weeks, so up until last Friday. So this would be your balances right now trading, yeah? But by adding the SWCT, not only have you put yourself thousands and thousands, and in these cases, tens of thousands of dollars ahead, you've also made extra profit based on the SWCT you've added. So not only are you putting this money to work at $1 and getting paid profit by the dollar, you've also earned more than you would have done had you have just left it alone and done nothing. So by taking action, being smart, and either using money that you couldn't do anything with, or obtaining it from those that thought that they couldn't do anything else with it, you've made significant amount more money. Now, I've mentioned these numbers to a few people and they say, hey, Scott, that's great, but these 38 weeks have gone. What would it look like if I invested now? Okay, so as I said, I took the percentages for the weekly average, applied a downtick, and these are what the numbers look like. So I've done 5K, 10K, 25K, 50K deposits. These are the costs again. If you were to do SWCT and SGCT, obviously, if you just did SGCT, it's just the total of those two. And then I did 26 weeks, 52 weeks, 26 weeks, 52 weeks, and so on. So based on the current weekly average, minus 5%, say I want to start with 10 grand, where will I be in 6 months? Well, if you just combine, where is it? Total profit to date, SGCT only. So you'd have 16.2K invested, you'd have made 6.2K. If you were adding SWCT, you'd be almost 2 grand ahead. And that's just in 26 weeks. If you look over 52 weeks, so a year from now, providing this functionality is still available, remember, once the audit ends and SWCT liquidity returns, we can't take advantage of this anymore. So you're either going to start soon or you're going to miss out on the opportunity, essentially. I've turned $10,000 into nearly 34,000. In order to do that, I've added 6,700 in SWCT that only cost me $1,000. So I spent $8,500 up front and a total of $1,000 on my SWCT, and I'm now here in 12 months. Where else can you turn less than $10,000 into $33,000 inside 12 months without really having to lift a finger? Right? And again, if you already have the SWCT, or if you have investments that are generating you SWCT, that money is not costing you anything. You're putting it to work where other people are sitting there moaning about the fact that they can't do anything with it. So really, there's a tool here that is producing some pretty special results. There, I said it again. And I don't really think there's too much else to say about it. I'm just going to leave this on the screen for those of you who want to try and sort of navigate through it.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I got it on here. Thanks for that. That was awesome. Yeah, so maybe we should do something like, if people want this, it's a PDF you made, right? Okay, maybe we should do, yeah, we should, because I think probably people like to use that to do, to send to leads and stuff like that. So maybe, I don't know, we'll figure a way out. Maybe we can put it in the investors chat group. I'll have to ask Sergi first if we can do that. But I think for the English speaking members, that would be awesome for them to have something like that in their back pocket. So what we're going to do now, guys, you can actually stop sharing your screen there, and we'll open things up for, how did I do it? I think you click. Yeah, there you go. You're good. Golden. Yeah, it's gone now, so it's good. So yeah, if you want to, do you want to stick around for the Q&A? Because we're going to do a Q&A now. Maybe you can jump in, and because you're up there in S group, so you could answer some questions too with me here. Awesome, thanks. So yeah, if you guys have questions about anything, we're here. Hopefully we get more questions than last time. Last time I think we had 3 or 4 questions. So if anyone wants to turn their mic on and just ask a question, that'd be great. Okay, we'll give it a couple more minutes here, and then if no one asks any questions, we'll turn things off. These are supposed to be Q&As, eh? These sessions that we're doing here, the broadcasts. So you guys, maybe next time we do it, think of a question and come prepared with your question. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, I understand what you're talking about. He actually said that in a webinar a while ago. I think it was before he was talking about that we're almost 50 or we're just past 50% done. It was like a webinar or two before that. And he was going to go to the broker and try and, get them to release some liquidity or something and that type of thing. Yeah. So I haven't heard anything else about that. From what I take that as is that they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't release some liquidity from the broker. But maybe when the audits, yeah, no, I don't think they could do it. That's what I think. Yeah. 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 But this now could be a different situation. Like when the audit is actually all done, right? Maybe then he can do something, but I don't know. That's just, he would need to say something about that, right? Ali, do you got a question there? Yep. Yeah, no problem. So my kind of approach on that, my thoughts on it, guys, I talked a lot about this in the presentation I did today. And I tried to be crystal clear that the outcome I talked about, as in, this would be the worst case scenario as it goes to trial and then it takes years and years and years with that trial, guys. Like, I truly believe that will not happen. And you can even see that in the other leaders out there is that, just in the simple cases that everyone's promoting S Group. They're not out there promoting something else, right? They're focused on the prime investment. Okay. So, that clears up what I think on things, guys. Yeah, but I just want to say that nothing is like, as Ali said, nothing is 100% guaranteed. Like, you can't really think like, oh, if I put my money in this, I'm guaranteed this much return, or I'm guaranteed that, even next year I'm going to be earning from this or whatever type thing. But this is what I look at when I think about things like that. And of course, when you come along and you invest in S Group and you make your first deposit, these are the kind of things that you look at is like, what has the company done in the past? You look at what has the company overcome in the past? How are the members acting in the company there when things are hard? Like, say, for instance, when we get a low earnings day, right? How do people act? The next day when earnings are back to normal, how do they act? All that kind of stuff, right? So there's so many things that you need to look at when you're making a decision on, about the company, because you're investing in the company, right? That's basically what you're doing when you're making an investment in S Group. And you need to look at the track record of the company. You need to look at the people that are involved in that investment that you're thinking of building or investing in. How do they act? How do they feel about it? If you see the majority of people complaining all the time, then maybe rethink your investment plan. If you see that, only when, say, there's a low earnings day, as I was saying there before, is that the really only time you see people complaining? And that's kind of what I see in S Group, guys, is when we have a low earnings day, you get those same people that come out and complain about things, right? Okay. Of course, with this audit, every now and then you see someone explode in the general chat group there. Oh, here, just wait. Let me finish here quick there, and then you can ask a question. But yeah, back to Ali's question there, guys, was that, here's something else we talked about actually in the last broadcast, where Tat jumped in and he talked about this for quite a while there as well and went over some good points, is that, like, what if SGCT gets audited, right? Like, what has S Group put in place so that they've learned from this experience of being audited? Like, what changes have they made? Okay. So, some things that Tat talked about before was that, and this I'm talking about the last broadcast, of course, was that they did things like, it's in a separate account, broker account, right? It's in, they have different LEI for it and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what it's called, right? LEI kind of thing. So, many things are different with it. It's not all in the same scenario as SWCT, right? They're not sharing a bunch of information publicly about it. Okay. So that was actually what started the audit, guys, or sorry, I should say what started the claims against the company was that they were too transparent. I talked about this as well in the last presentation I did. They're too transparent. The company was actually too transparent about their dealings with SWCT, with how everything works. At every event, they're showing how much was in the broker account and all that. And that's, of course, it's like what the members want to hear, or see even. But it brought the wrong attention to the company. And I think that's when I said before, learn from your mistakes. And that was even part of the presentation today. It was like, learn from hard times, and it'll create, easier times in the future for you. That's something that the company, I believe strongly that they've learned from here is don't be so transparent. Even if they think like the company's thinking, oh, this is good for the members to know, blah, blah, blah information. Okay, let's not share it because remember what happened last time, right? Type thing like that. So I think that's honestly, guys, if someone was to ask me like, what if SGCT gets audited? I think that's the main thing is the company has learned from maybe the mistakes they've made in the past that created this audit, right? And they're not willing to do what they did with SWCT is being so transparent about how much money they have and all this kind of stuff, right? So yeah, I think that's probably the best answer I can give for your question there. Is exactly along the lines of what I said. Yep. Yeah, go ahead. Hi. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. That's good information there. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So as she's saying, guys, like different accounts, like everything is different now, right? Even the dealings with sanctions are different, right? Okay. So does anyone else have another question here? I didn't get your name. I couldn't see you on my screen, so sorry. Oh, Eric, how you doing? Thanks, Eric. Eric's almost at 15%, guys. He's going to be there soon. Every week I look at where you are. You're almost there. That's awesome. He'll be my first 15% guy. So anyone else have questions? Yeah, he's he'll be on basically when he gets the information to share with us, then he'll be back on with the webinar. Yeah. So his last one was March 1st. So I'm guessing, I don't know exactly when he's going to get the information, but I would say like probably within the next 2 weeks, he should maybe do something around that time there. But yeah, guys, like he's always around. You see Sergi in group, as I was saying during this broadcast, like Sergi is always online in the groups there. I kind of see Sergi as kind of in the same situation as Vadim. If we're getting the news from Sergi, it's basically the same as we're getting the news from Vadim there. I know it is great to see Vadim's face in those live calls that he does. But yeah, it's something to look forward to. But there, as I was saying in the broadcast here, guys, there's no set time or dates to them. It's he announces it and then he does it. He could announce tomorrow that he's going to do one in 2 days. We don't know, right? When it's announced, it's announced. But yeah, Vadim's not gone anywhere, right? He's here with us there. Okay. So, and I think I saw him say something in one of the groups a couple days ago. He said hi or answered someone's question or something like that. But as I said, Sergi's always around there. Okay. So anybody else have any other questions? We got 103 people here now. 103 people. No one has a question. Oh, thanks. Yeah, what we'll do, guys, is the PDF that Scott had there with all the numbers on it and stuff like that. You guys know I'm not good with numbers like that. Even him explaining this to me 3 times, I'm still confused about it, but I understand the main gist of it there. We'll get that PDF out to you. I'm going to ask Sergi if we can put it in the investors chat group there. I'll send it to him first, and I'll just say this is what was said at our presentation today, our call. And I think many people in the English community would be interested in it. And yeah, guys, it's awesome that a lot of the Russian members are here to support us as well in English. It's great to see that. Russian speaking, I should say, right? Because you guys are all over the Europe there. Okay, any more questions? Hey, yeah, we see you. Or hear you. Sorry, we don't see you. We hear you. Okay, I know exactly how to answer your question here, so I'll go at it. Okay, so basically, what Scott was saying there, guys, I'll try and break this down in extreme layman terms, so even my mind can understand it pretty easily. There is that if you want to compound with SWCT, you can do that because the balance moves over like weekly, like almost base. I think it is about set every 7 days. I don't have a huge investment in Prime. I have like 1,000 or so in there. But the balance moves over, guys, about every 7 days or so, about once a week. And you can go and actually leave it turned off so it's not auto compounding, let the balance move over, and then use 20%, of SWCT, like make a new investment instead of letting it compound on its own, right? That's the way that you want to do it. To get ahead quicker there. And that's basically what Scott's presentation was, guys, is he was showing you like the numbers of how much quicker it compounds if you just leave it, you basically leave it off, let the balance move over, and then add 20% to it. And then also what he was saying is for the people out there that aren't old investors of S Group and they came in and they just invested in Prime, you can go to the P2P and you can buy like the P2P on S-Trade there, and you can buy SWCT for extremely cheap. So you can think about it that way, is that you're building at 20% quicker, and you're either using the SWCT that you're earning in your S4X or your optimal pools, or if you don't have that, you're going to the S-Trade exchange, or you're contacting your sponsor above and saying, hey, can I buy SWCT off you? Make an arrangement with them, or go to the P2P and buy it for really cheap there. So it's actually it's pretty amazing, guys, the numbers there. And I'm going to get that PDF off him to get to you guys. Scott, do you want to talk something about that? Because that's your puppy, your baby.
That's all it is, but you just need to make sure you stay on top of your taxes in order to take advantage.
Yeah, so think about that, guys. Like, as Scott was saying there, his weekly earning was like 300 and something in SGCT. And then he went and added the 20% to it, which was 70 SWCT. So for the next week, he's ahead 70 more SGCT basically in his investment, right? If you want to think of it that way. So it's pretty amazing. So also, I want to go over this really quick here, guys, because we are just talking about Prime, because that was what it was mostly about there today. But you can, if you have SWCT, you can as well, like, if you're stacking it up and you don't want to do what I was talking about is the lump sum idea there, guys, you can actually use your SWCT in S crypto. Okay. So you can send it to S trade, SWCT. You can sell it into, half of it, figure out how much you need to sell by looking at that S crypto investment, how much you'd need of each. You can sell it into STD or SWP to make that investment. So you don't have to use new funds out of pocket to get involved with S crypto as well there. Okay, so that's another option that you could do, because I know a lot of people think about, I have all this SWCT, I don't want to sell it. What can I do with it? So, you've got the lump sum option. You've got what I think is the best option, is to use 20% and just keep on putting that into Prime, basically. Or you can do S crypto with it, guys. You don't have to just let it sit there, or what I think is a big mistake for some people there is to sell it for very cheap. I think that's going to be a regret in the future for many people. But yeah. So does anyone else have any more questions? Okay, we'll wait a little bit longer here, guys, and then we'll end it, because I think it has been I don't know exactly how long it's been, but it's definitely probably been around we started. Yeah, it's been an hour and 40 minutes almost now, this presentation. So that is long enough. But if you guys have questions, please ask. That's what we're here. We're here to help you out. Or if anyone else that speaks English that's in 15%, I've seen 2 other people on this chat today. If you guys want to jump on, just say hi. I know the English members like to know who you guys are at 15%, 15 plus, I should say. Because it's always interesting to see like the people that speak English that are in that group, right? No questions? No other questions you guys have? Yeah, liquidity mining is closed. It's like a lot of the investments in there, if you go in there, they're only for a certain amount of time. You can go into S Crypto if you want to invest in like a mining type thing. You can go into S Crypto, and the earnings in there, well, you see them. They come out every single day. I think they're about 0.30 in S Crypto there. So you could do that. It's it earns the same. It's basically 7 days a week. You get your earnings from that. So that's what I recommend you do, is just go into S Crypto, because it's no longer available. I'm not even sure if they're going to open it back up there. Any other questions? No problem. Okay, we'll give it another minute here, guys, and then we'll close things down. It's pretty amazing. Over 100 people watching this, because I know our English community is pretty small. That's good. Thanks for coming out today, guys. That's good. Okay, is Yuri or Sergi here? Maybe Yuri or Sergi, you can turn off the chat here. I'm not really sure how to turn it off. I'm afraid if I press leave, then I'll just leave, but everyone else will be hanging on here. So if someone, Yuri or Sergi, if you can turn it off, we're done our broadcast. Unless someone has a question, they can sneak in here really quick. Okay, I don't hear anyone with another question there, guys. So I don't actually have controls over the broadcast here, so they're going to have to turn it off. So I'm going to say I'm going to leave because no one's asking any more questions. But you just click leave, okay, on there, and I think they'll turn it off. They'll see like, oh, there's no one here, and then they'll turn it off on their own, okay? But I'd like to thank everyone for coming out again to the second English broadcast here. We'll do another one. Definitely, when Vadim does his next broadcast there, guys, the webinar, I'll do another one after that, or I'll do another one when I see new news come out. If no new news, which I'm sure it'll come out, if we don't get any new news over the next 2 weeks or a month or something, then I'll just do another broadcast for you guys in English here. It's good just to see, familiar faces and stuff like that. And, for people to come out there. Now there's 110 people here. So there's more people coming in, and it's the end. So yeah, once again, if someone has controls over the broadcast there, you can just turn it off. I'm going to leave. And once again, thanks everyone for coming out to the broadcast today. Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's see if he turned off the broadcast. Where is it? Oh, it's up here. Okay, it's off. Okay, so that was interesting. Okay. That was a good one, I think. I think we did really good there. Estes responding to me. He said, okay, so yeah, I wasn't sure how many people were at 14%, but there's 693 people there. Thanks for inviting me, buddy. I appreciated it. I had slides showing on my screen. His slides weren't working there perfectly. I'll respond back to him later. I'll just finish off this video for you here today, guys. And thanks for watching it. And I'm going to upload this to YouTube. I was thinking about something, is that I had my headphones on, and I'm not sure if you could hear the Q&A, the actual questions being asked, right? So if that's the case, then I'm just going to put in text what the question is, and then of course you'll hear my response for it, but I'll have to sort that out next time, guys. As I said, right now is the second time I've used Telegram to do a broadcast. So it's a little different than other ones there, but it is pretty good, right? I like it better than Zoom, actually. So that's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in another one. As I said before, I'm either going to do it after Vadim's next news, or I'm going to do it when we hear new news, like maybe Sergio put some new news out, or I'll do it, just to, so we can all gather again, even if there is no new news. I'll do it, over the next, in a month or so there, okay? So that's it. See you guys. Thanks for watching.